As Donald Trump announces a record-breaking deal to sell Qatar over 200 Boeing jets, it's another jet plane that's been making headlines. The U.S. president has doubled down on accepting a $600 million luxury aircraft from the Gulf state. CQ University senior lecturer in aviation, Stephen Leib, says the controversial gift could pose a major security concern.
With any presidential gift, there would already inherently be security concerns, and a gift of this size and complexity would also present a big security challenge that would need to be assessed.
Yes, so let's go to the timeline and cost of something like that, because it's been suggested that, even during Trump's 4-year term, it would have ended by the time this new aircraft could even be retrofitted to Air Force One standards. Would that be the case?
I mean, I have also seen officials commenting on that, and I think that is a huge concern, not only the security of potential devices being used to capture intelligence, but also just to meet the existing level of security of the current Air Force One. If it indeed is going to take many years, then it may not have the value that it represents as a replacement.
Yes, and what might be the difference between the current Air Force One aircraft and the one that Trump is hoping to get?
From what I've read, the one Trump is planning to get is quite luxurious, and it's a beautiful aircraft that's been fitted with bedrooms and a living area and very luxurious outfitting. The Air Force One, don't get me wrong, is also quite luxurious by our standards, I'm sure. However, its primary focus is on security. So there's a huge cost to that in terms of comfort, in terms of actual resources. Whereas this aircraft, I think, would be a step above in terms of quality and comfort.
Yep. And why are there delays, in the provision of the two new Air Force One's planes that are in the works, and are the current ones not fit for purpose, as Donald Trump suggests?
I think that the existing delays have to do primarily with supply chain issues and just being able to retrofit aircraft that they're acquiring. As far as the capabilities of the existing Air Force One, many of the capabilities have never been used. So just to give you a sense, the aircraft are about 40 years old, and even now we have not used many of the features that they're capable of doing, like mid-air refueling while a president's been on board and things like that. Look, as far as the timeline, I think supply chain is probably the biggest factor in causing these delays, but also there's been the 747 has been discontinued as an aircraft, so probably even just sourcing those parts has been a challenge for Boeing.
Yes. Nevertheless, from an aviation industry point of view, Donald Trump has secured a $96 billion deal to sell 200 plus Boeing aircraft to Qatar. How big is this from an industry point of view?
Very significant order from an industry point of view, and it's consistent with other large-scale orders we've seen. Some orders can be large enough to actually help the supplier make modifications to aircraft to meet those orders. So I think it is a pretty significant one.
Yes, of course, over the past few years, we have seen, or past decade or more, we have seen, Gulf carriers grow from strength to strength to strength. Is that where the market is for the world's, aviation industry?
I mean, definitely from the numbers, the Middle Eastern carriers have grown rapidly over the past couple decades. And I think one great advantage, which is often overlooked, is that their location geographically allows them to access virtually most of the world with a nonstop flight. So that's a huge advantage for global connecting passengers that can basically get around the world with a single stop. Another huge part of it is just the amount of economic growth coming out of the Middle East, and basically across a variety of sectors, and aviation helps to underpin that. And so I think that's fed into the amount of growth that we've seen.
Yes, and going to some domestic issues in the U.S., there have been more concerns about air traffic control. We saw systems failing at Newark Airport, where officers, for a short period of time, were not able to see the planes on their radars or even talk to pilots. I believe it was about 90 seconds. Should Americans be worried about the safety and fitness of U.S. air traffic control?
Well, I think many Americans are worried. The air traffic control system is quite antiquated, and it's been relied upon more and more with an ever-increasing load of flights. Having said that, there are many plans to refurbish a lot of the air traffic control system, and I think, in general, pilots and air traffic controllers are some of the highest trained, highest qualified people in industry you can find, and I think we need an air traffic control system and the infrastructure that doesn't rely so much on them to be heroes, that actually gives them the support to facilitate the number of flights happening in the United States, which is ever growing.
Yes, and is it also an issue of staffing numbers at the moment?
Staffing is an issue, and there are reports of air traffic control towers being understaffed based on the recommended number of controllers. And this, I think, all feeds into a concern about the reliability of the system. And even now, at Newark Airport, flights are being slowed or delayed to make sure that the load is not too significant on the system. So again, if you're booking flights for travel, you want to maximize that reliability in the system.
Yes, and what do you then think about the FAA's new 3-year plan to modernize America's air traffic control system? You touched on this earlier, which is something that is on the president's agenda.
Yeah, I think, look, there are many things that could be modernized in the coming years. I think certainly there are some modifications that could be made or updates that could be made with a 3-year timeline. I think we should not expect to see the entire system being overhauled within a 3-year period. That's it's just a very complex system with many, many parts. And just from a resourcing perspective, I think it will take some time, but I am actually pretty optimistic about the energy to refurbish the system now.
Okay, Steve, Leib, really good to get your insights today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.